Hey, this is Brett Larner of Japan Running News. It's 6:57 on August 2nd, 2018, 2 years and 3 minutes until the start of the 2020 Tokyo Olympics Women's Marathon. I'm here right outside the site of construction for the Olympic Stadium, where the marathon will start and finish. So what we're going to do today is go out and run the course at the actual time that the marathon will be held 2 years from today, and check out the conditions along the way. It's a cloudless sky right now, a little bit of cloud rolling in from the east, so we may get a little bit of cloud cover during the run, but right now at the start of the run it is 31.1 degrees, 68% humidity. So these will be representative of the conditions we'll probably be facing in 2 years. Follow along. So as we're in the first part to the north here, away from the stadium, there's a fair amount of shade cover from all the buildings, but very harsh shadows from the right, away from the east. And even just for a second, stepping out into direct sunlight, it's a noticeable difference in the temperatures we'll be experiencing here. This is the first corner on the course, not quite 2 kilometers in. I'm going to make a right here onto Yasukuni-dori, and as you can see, we'll be going straight into the sun. No shade at all, completely exposed. Those clouds I was hoping for to the east have blown away, so completely cloudless skies, completely exposed to the sun, running right into it. Also, if you're curious about that downhill near the start and the uphill at the finish, this is the lion's share of it right here. Steepest section, it's the same as the downhill section on the Tokyo Marathon course. Go out here, try to show you a little bit here. It's not too long, not too much difference, but especially on the return trip that we'll cover later. And this uphill here, just before the finish, 2 kilometers to go or so, will have a factor. It will be a factor. So one of the things they're talking about doing to prepare the course, to make it a little bit safer for runners during the Olympic Marathon, is to increase the tree coverage, letting the tree branches grow a bit bigger to provide more shade. As you can see, the course is coming off from the left here, huge wide road. This is the extent of the trees over here and the extent of the shade they're currently providing. So we'll see how much that's going to improve in 2 years. Here's another shot of tree coverage along the course and the extent of shade currently provided, which is essentially 0. Alright, half an hour in, check the weather conditions. 32.2 degrees, 71% humidity. My thermometer here flashes when the conditions are dangerous enough that you're at risk of heat stroke. So this is what we're facing half an hour in. Okay, here we are, 8 o'clock, 1 hour into the race, and it is currently 31.8 degrees in the shade with 86% humidity. The first part of the course mostly runs straight to the east, and you're basically completely exposed to the sun during all that time. There's not a cloud in the sky right now. The few sections where you're running north-south, there is very good shade coverage from buildings, still quite hard shadows, but I expect in the second half of the race, when you're running back along those, the sun will be high enough that there won't be too much shade provided by the local buildings. But again, here we go, 31.7 degrees, 86% humidity, 1 hour into the Tokyo Olympics Marathon. Hey there, it's 8:30, an hour and a half into the run here. We're just coming up to Asakusa. Current temperature, 32.0 degrees. I'm running about 4.5 minutes per kilometer pace, but losing enough time at red lights that to keep this meaningful in terms of running during the period in which the Olympic Marathon will be happening, I'm going to cut out the middle section, so this will be about a 30k run altogether. Try to get to the finish around the time that maybe the last few finishers in the women's marathon will be getting there. Alright, here we go up to the turnaround at Asakusa. Anybody who's run the Tokyo Marathon or watched the broadcast, you recognize this. Kaminarimo. The gate at Asakusa. Take a right, here's the first turnaround. Tokyo Skytree, completely exposed to the sun. It's about 33 degrees. Another right-hand turn and head back to the south. At that point, the sun will mostly be behind and the left-hand side. But where we've had shade a lot of the time, on the way up here. The sun's getting high enough now that you're completely exposed to the sun on the way back. Okay, 9 o'clock, 2 hours into what will be the Olympic marathon, 32.8 degrees, 88% humidity. We're at the 20K point, same as the 10K point. Of course, it's going to turn to the left there, the way that camera's pointing right now. Go out 4K, come back to the 28K point, and then continue up this way, which is the way we came in the first 10K. I'm going to cut that middle section, that middle 8 right now, and I'll do that next week on the 2-year pre-date of the men's marathon. So we're just going to head straight back from here. I'm also going to cut out the 4K section in front of the Imperial Palace, which is basically straight out the back with no shade, just so that I can try to finish this in about the same time as get that. So what I'm able to do. All right, 9:30. 2.5 hours into the women's marathon. So it's around the time you figure the winner will be finishing, probably plus minus a few minutes there, maybe on the minus side. Temperature right now, as you can see, is 33.5 with 88% humidity. It's climbing actually as I'm standing here in the sun, so we're getting a little bit warmer temperature, but ambient temperature figures going to be around 34 degrees. The course here, the course here will turn off to the left, go down about 2K, make that turnaround in front of the Imperial Palace, come back, go up, and then take a left all the way back to the stadium. So I'm going to head straight back. I'm going to cut off that 4K to that next week in the men's marathon. We just broke 34 degrees, 34.2, 89% humidity. This is the long straightaway that goes back up the hill towards the stadium. As you can see, it's pretty much exposed to the sun. The sun will be at the runner's rear. I don't know how visible it is on this video, but some of that special pavement that they're been experimenting with ahead of the Olympics that's supposed to reduce the amount of radiant heat from the pavement surface. It's basically like a light gray color. You see how effective that is. So again, this is the last few K of the course. Just before we get into the big uphill, as you can see, it's totally 100% exposed to the sun. The sun's just off to my left, just a little bit ahead of me. They're talking about growing these trees out over the next 2 years, magic trees that supposedly are going to provide sufficient shade cover over this part of the course. So anyone who's going to be running this, you can really look forward to being running the last few K in rising temperatures, completely exposed to the sun, and then hitting a big uphill to the finish. It's going to be very interesting to say the least. Hopefully these magic trees will do the trick. Okay, so this is the 3-hour mark. Most of the women should be still finished by now. I'm almost back to the stadium. A little bit lost time to stoplights, but it's looking like right now in the shade about 32.5 degrees, 88% humidity. It feels quite a bit hotter than that in the sun. We'll try to get an accurate reading once we get back to the stadium. Alright, this is the uphill heading up to 40K. Short, sharp, shadowless. It's really nothing. Just a matter of 100 meters or so. Right at the top, you're going to take a left, and that'll lead straight back to the stadium. See, there's been an NTV camera crew out here filming some model running, driving her from point to point as I've been running the whole thing. And that's it for the uphill. Here we go. Left-hand turn. This is about 2K to go. Left-hand turn, right into the stadium. This is the last section of road. Now going into the stadium. You can see the cranes in the distance there, the Olympic Stadium. When I ran out along here, it was completely in the shade. As you can see now, the right hand of the road is mostly exposed to the sun. Still some building shadows on the left, so presumably they'll have you running on the left-hand side of the road where I am, heading back in to the stadium. This is a little bit beyond when most of the women would have finished, well beyond when most of the men would have finished, but you can see there's still some lingering building shadows here. So here we are outside the 2020 Tokyo Olympic construction site. It's about 10:15 a.m., 3 hours, 15 minutes since the women's marathon would have started 2 hours from today. Current weather conditions, it's 36.0 degrees, 88% humidity, not a cloud in the sky. I'm standing in the shade, but Obviously it'll be a little bit hotter than that in the sun. We covered about 30K at the course today. We cut out the middle two dog legs between 20 and 28K and between about 31 and 35K. And next Thursday on the 2-year pre-anniversary of the men's marathon, I'll cover both of those sections as well. So check back then, we'll check what the conditions will be like for the men's marathon. If you enjoyed this, please feel free to buy me a sports drink via the link I've tweeted earlier, and we'll see you next week. Quick thoughts as I'm walking home. Obviously the conditions aren't great. It was about 31 degrees at the start, 36 or so when I finished. About 70 to 80% humidity and 0 cloud cover. As long as you're running in the shade, it was pretty bearable. Much more so than I expected. I wish you could say it wasn't as bad as I expected, but the only question will be how much shade cover there will be along the road. That's really going to be the critical issue, especially in the last 8 kilometers or so of the course, which is basically looking like it's going to be completely exposed. So we'll give it a go next week during the 2-year pre-anniversary of the men's marathon and see what the conditions are like then. Over and out.